And welcome back to Wario World, a game where we play as a fat, muscular, greedy, gluttonous, gross ball of fat, and we will enjoy every moment of it. At Greenhorn Ruins. Every time I see the word Greenhorn, I think specifically of the first case of Apollo Justice, because I'm pretty sure that they refer to Apollo as a greenhorn attorney, and I wasn't really sure what that meant. In this game, I thought it was just some kind of play on words, like, oh, it's a green level, and there's lots of horned creatures, and maybe that's, you know, maybe they just stuck that together and made up a new word. But no, it's a real word. I'm not exactly sure what a green horn is supposed to be, but, like, that's a real word, but I don't know what the origin of that term is. Maybe one day I will decide to look this up, for the lulz of it. You know, for the lulz of it. So, I don't think I ever finished my thought about one of the reasons that I'm playing this game now, as opposed to another time. But first, let's enter this door. This is a particular basement door that requires you to pile drive an enemy into it to open it. You can't just open it normally. I like how you can hit this arrow. There's no reason to, but it's fun. I also love these glue balls. Are they glue globes? I think that's what they're actually called. I don't remember anymore, but they are silly and dumb and also fun. So I like them. Yeah, as for why I'm playing this game, well, there were a few games that I wanted to play, but I decided that this one has a particularly noteworthy, like, snow level in it. It's not exactly the world's most amazing snow level in existence, although it is pretty good. I gotta say, it is... I don't know, actually it might be one of my favorite snow levels in a game, but I would have to think about it. But considering this game only has 8 levels and one of them is a snow level, I figured that's as close to a snow-themed game as I'm going to get, as far as just playing a game that is somewhat close to me for the channel. And it is the winter season, I figured it would be fitting. We'll get to that eventually. Maybe that's weak logic, I don't know, but it's the best that I've got. There's that, and also the fact that the first half of December was kind of rough for me. It was not a great time, mostly because I was finishing up my my various classes, and most of them were fine. In fact, I got an A on all of them, except for one. And that one was very problematic, and it's also the one that is part of my major, which I hope to change soon. Like, I guess I'll go into a little bit of backstory with this. I entered college with an art major. I was doing a fine arts major, and then I decided this was too easy, I'm gonna change this. So I decided to shoot for an animation major instead. What ended up happening with that is, you know, I thought that having an animation major meant I would study all kinds of different animation. I would study, you know, 2D animation, like traditionally and digitally. Maybe I would also have some fun with... Is this a button that activates something over here? I think it might be, so I'm gonna check. But yeah, I thought I would have, you know, that kind of animation. I thought I would have stop-motion animation, and I thought that there might be 1 or 2 classes for 3D animation. And it was just going to be, you know, this all-encompassing major. That's what I expected. What it turns out is, it is entirely 3D, it is entirely CG stuff, and it's also entirely using Autodesk Maya. Plus a couple of other programs for, like, compositing and video combining different rendered elements, and I don't know. But this was discouraging for me, because I discovered from the first class that I didn't like working in 3D, and then I discovered from the second class that I really don't like working in 3D. and what I just finished up was my second class. It's also weird because I did take a 2D animation class, which I thought was part of my major, but it turns out it's just part of my now art minor. So I thought that there was one class in the major that I liked, and it turns out it's not even part of the major. Just generally a weird time. Maybe some people like 3D out there who are watching this, but I'm not a fan of the texturing or the rendering or the digital compositing, messing with all the different layers. I'm not a fan of... Oh wait, I was supposed to spin that the other way. Whoops. Oh well, here's the Unicorn's layer for this level. It's always satisfying when the first box that you hit happens to be the spring, because it changes every time. Yeah, I don't know. Name any element of 3D animation, and I don't like it. So, it was very hard for me to finish my final project, and actually, I technically didn't. What ended up happening is I sort of finished the project, but I finished the part that was supposed to be done in 3D in 2D, because that was the best that I could do. So, I'm guessing my teacher does not like me very much for that, but I didn't attend the final day of class, where we were presenting our projects, so I don't know exactly what he thinks of it. And I don't really intend to check his notes. I'm just, gonna live in blissful ignorance of that, I guess. I was fully expecting to fail the class, honestly, but I got a C+, somehow. Like, I was thinking either an F or barely scraping by with, like, a D+. But apparently I did very slightly above average overall. Alright, there's a spring. This game has very strange animations. One of the things that I noticed with this game a long time ago when playing it is that there is not a single moment when something on the screen isn't moving, basically. Like, this is a pretty inactive screen, but something on it is moving. You've got the hearts that are kind of beeping in the corner. You pause the game, everything on the screen is moving. Even if I go here, you still got, like, the flashing and the heart in the corner. I don't know. It gives this sort of helter-skelter tone to the game, almost. Like, everything is always moving, you're always on the move. It's action-packed, it's full of thrill and wonder. Or something. It's not really a super important thing to notice, but it's something. So, this is a nice example of the repetition of the game. Despite having lots of variety, it has a lot of things that repeat as well, and this is one of those things. Just an arena where you're stuck with fighting a whole bunch of monsters for a minute. There's the same 60-second song that plays every time, and that's kind of it. There's not really a reason to fight the enemies except that they give you coins, and the coins are not really important except for if you happen to die and you need to buy yourself another life. So it's kind of like Mario Odyssey, if anyone's played that, which I'm sure a lot of people have, since it's, like, it wasn't Game of the Year, but I think it was nominated Game of the Year. And I think the enemies just kind of looped back on the first wave at the end there. Yeah, it's a little bit like that. If you die, then you have to spend a certain amount of money to get another life, and the amount increases with each stage as they get harder, so I guess it's nice to stock up on coins, even though you don't really have to do any grinding in this game. It's just kind of whatever. In a way, it feels like something is missing from this game, because it keeps track of how many enemies you defeat, but this knowledge is never used for anything. Not that I mind, because something about whenever a game just tracks a whole bunch of arbitrary things and you get rewards from that is kind of silly to me. Like, For example, in Paper Mario Sticker Star, you've got those banners in the festival area that... What do they do? It's basically like if you happen to get the roulette wheel, or the slot machine wheel thing, if you get a perfect on the slot machine, like 1,000 times, or however many it is, then one of the banners goes down. But there's no reason that you'd ever do this unless you actively seek out doing the slot machine thing 1,000 times and getting it just right every time, which... I don't know the exact number, but I did everything that had to be done with that. It wasn't rewarding in any way, it just felt like 100%ing the game because there wasn't much to that game, and I figured I wanted to stretch it out a little bit longer. I don't know. Arbitrary things like that kind of bother me. Mario Odyssey has something like that where at the end of the game it counts like how many times you've jumped, and if you've jumped a certain number of times then you get one of the moons. And it has that for a whole bunch of other things too. So I'm glad that this game doesn't have a reward for like beating 100,000 enemies, because it would get really boring. Oh. I don't remember what this move was called. It was like the wing-a-sling-a-ding move. Something really dumb, but fittingly dumb. Oh yeah, this one. This one's one of my favorites. It's not really one of my favorites. Basically, you have to determine, based on the sound and on sparkles that you find, where the two things are. Let's see, is it easier to tell where they are from the back? Well, there's one of them over there, because I saw a sparkly do. Yes, a sparkly do. That is probably the name of My Little Pony character. I wouldn't know these things, but it just sounds like it would be. Does the other one make sound? No, I think the one that I just... Oh, wait. I hear a noise. I can't tell whether the noise that I'm hearing is, like, based on Wario's position or the camera's position. Is it over here? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I think they must change position every time, like every game that you play, because I don't think they were in those locations the last time I played this. So that's interesting. This game has some randomization to keep you on your toes. Speaking of keep you on your toes, let's do the stupid ledge animation again. Or not. No? You're not going to do it this time? Nope, I guess not, because there was a slanted edge. Oh well. Forcing dumb jokes. Sometimes it doesn't work. Oh yeah, that's something I kind of forgot about. Oh. By the way, we just got an NES. Every 2 levels you get a different game system at the end. It's kind of fun. I'm gonna have to go back for one of the items that I missed. Yeah, but I forgot about the fact that, the thing that the Spritelings do whenever you collect them is... Really, the main purpose that they have is they rebuild your castle at the end of the game. But depending on how many you've saved, it builds it in a different way. So, I think I already may have mentioned a similarity between this game and Luigi's Mansion is that the enemies actually kind of serve a story purpose. But another similarity is that the end of the game ranks you, depending on what you've done. So, I think if you only save the one Spriteling at the beginning that is completely mandatory because you get it in a cutscene, if you only save that one and none of the other ones, then Wario ends up in just a tent in the woods. And that's his new home. So that is kind of the best ending, but yeah, we're not going to be seeing anything fun like that. I'm just going to get the normal 100% ending. Okay, so I don't know exactly what color the treasure chest that I'm missing is. I just know that I'm missing exactly one of them. Okay. Oh yeah, I think I mentioned this music in the last part. This music... I know oh, there it is. I know that I've heard it in Wario Land Shake It, and I assume that it might be in other Wario games too, since this one. I don't even know why they reused this particular song, because it's not the song for the first level of the game. This is level 2. Since when do you use the level 2 music as like a recurring theme for a series and not the level 1 music? It's just a little bit unusual, but it is a good song, so I guess I can't really blame them. It was used in, I think, a carnival stage. It fits just as well. But I don't know why they used this music for a carnival stage when they could have used the actual, like, carnival levels music in this game, because there is a circus stage. That would have worked just fine. Looks like I got everything in the stage. Just gotta beat the boss now. Not a super noteworthy boss, except that it eventually becomes a regular enemy. And by regular enemy, I mean it just is a single enemy in the last level. Let's just do this for a while. Wait, no, didn't do it right. Let's just ignore the boss. Let me have my fun. If you're stupid about it, you can just keep doing this. I enjoy it. Okay, we can focus on the boss now that I've had my fun. It's just sort of a sandworm thing. It shoots spiked balls, just like the many that are in that one screenshot that I like from the back of the box. I'm pretty sure that all the music, the boss music in the game, is unique to each boss, although I haven't really paid much attention to it. I do think this game has a good soundtrack, but it's not really a soundtrack that I listen to outside of playing the game. Yeah, I'm kind of remembering this theme now. It's very odd. That was a good one. I liked that. And one more hit on the boss. The quicksand is not particularly threatening. I think if you actually sink to the bottom, yeah, nothing happens. You're perfectly okay. This game just makes some decisions that most games wouldn't make. Cleared that one out, and this video is already longer than the previous one by about 5 minutes almost, but I'm gonna go ahead and beat the boss, because I don't know of a better way to balance these videos. Since the boss is not, you know, none of the bosses that end a world are particularly superbly long boss fights. They're just kind of regular boss fights, almost. Except sometimes harder. That's kind of the extent of it. Now, one thing I have to say, just because it's relevant, is that this overworld or hub world or whatever you want to call it for this collectathon style game is probably the least believable hub world that I've ever seen in a collectathon type game. There's, you know, Mario Sunshine has. Well, Mario Sunshine and 64 have general areas with buildings, or maybe one big building that you traverse, and then there's Banjo-Kazooie has a big cavern. Crash Bandicoot has sort of like a space station type thing going, or like a secret base where you use teleporters to go into the levels. At least one of them is that way. I think several of them are. Maybe it's not always a station, but ruins or something, I don't know. But in this case, it's just like a weird void that has some very specifically themed levels and doors that go into them, and that's it. Not that I mind. Speaking of, like I was talking about weird boss designs earlier in the LP from the first boss fight, here's another very odd one. There. Oh, that was strange. I definitely pounded him, or her. I think it's her. I can't really tell. The boss's name is Dino Mighty, which doesn't really imply any specific gender, so I don't know. It's not like it really matters. It definitely looks like a girl dinosaur, though. Unless it's like Birdo. It might be like Birdo. Can I get any of these coins? They don't really show up in a way that you can get all of them. Yeah, the most efficient way to beat this boss is definitely climb onto the glue ball, the glue globe. Wait until you have an opportunity to slam its face into the ground. Sometimes takes a while. Are you done slamming your tongue into the floor? This could be one of Wario's distant, or not Wario's distant relatives. That would be frightening. I was gonna say Yoshi's distant relatives. He's got the tongue for it, at least. Yeah, I tend to go for the pile drive as my finishing move, just because it's faster than most of the other ones. Or all of the other ones. You could do the spinning move. It just takes frickin' forever, though. Because once you're past, like, the 5th or 6th spin, it keeps going until it hits about 20, and then you automatically throw the enemy. Is there another... I want to say there's another move. Oh yeah, there's the charge move, the charge throw. That's one that I use sometimes. Admire the sort of creepy ritual scenery here. And we've got ourselves a key. But more importantly, we got ourselves that NES. Now I gotta say, I really think this lock on this treasure chest is kind of awesome. You don't stick the key into the lock the way that you would a normal lock. You have to stick them all in like a puzzle. I think it's kind of excellent. I've always liked that, and I've made use of that in my various homemade player's guides that I used to make. You know, I should talk about that in the next episode. So it has been long enough. Thank you all for watching, and next time we will head to World 2. Spooktastic World, I think it's what it's called. Yeah.